2-year anniversary in Chile.
California.
Thing is, though, I am half Chilean. I'm from the United States. My father is from here, and so this country has always played a bit of a role in my life in a lot of little surprising ways. One of those ways is pebre. Pebre. The food, the salsa. We have basically the same thing in the United States. We call it pico de gallo. Ow! And the funny thing with that is I've got plenty of white girlfriends back in the States, and they really like to abbreviate stuff. They really like to say guac instead of guacamole. They like to say frap instead of frappuccino, stuff like that. So I love taking them out for food where I know they're going to be like, oh my God, I love pico. It's my favorite thing. It's not too spicy. I'm like, oh, so you don't want any of these jalapenos? These jalapenos? Anything like that? I have fun with it. The truth is, though, my parents didn't actually teach me a whole lot of Spanish growing up. I did take Spanish classes in school. I thought I'd have a bit of a leg up because I did hear some Spanish in the house. I heard some phrases, things like that. But apparently, you get to class and you have a test with a question like, "Como se dice, the baby is tired?" And apparently, la agüita tiene tutito po isn't the answer in the United States for some reason. So I suffered over that a bit. I suffered over that a little bit. But the absolute most interesting thing about being Chilean American was 9/11 when that happened. Is that 40 years too soon or 10 years too soon? I'm not sure. Anyway, I have these super vivid memories. I was a kid at the time, and I'm from the West Coast, so I have these super vivid memories of watching all that stuff go down on TV with my family. It was really alarming, of course, but we were, it was early in the morning, we're eating cereal, and my parents were just like, "Huh, Mira, this is weird, huh?" My little brother's in a high chair, and he's all like, "People falling," and we're just ignoring him. It's awful, it was bad. And my parents, the entire time, they're just saying things kind of like, this is something, this is really weird. But they've got that awkward laughter, they've got that, Emily, look at this, to it. And I spent most of my teenage years thinking that laughter, I should say, I have kind of liberal, commie type parents. And they've never kept it a secret from me that the U.S. Nixon administration might have kind of, sort of played a role in what happened in Chile in the 70s. So I had it in my mind during the United States' 9/11 that they had some kind of sick, like, oh, we have this coming, sort of thing going through their minds. And that was why that was their reaction. So I asked them about it. I asked them about it some years later, like, hey, what was up with that? What were you thinking? And they were like, oh, no, it wasn't that. It wasn't what you think it was. We thought it was Chile attacking the United States. We thought we'd have to pack up the family and just, like, figure out where we're, going next. So, the thing is, I figure, and I'm going to say this in American, if you will, Osama bin Laden and Al Qaeda, I think they wanted to make a point. They wanted some notoriety from that particular event, and they just missed the mark entirely with the Chilean American audience there. We did not say that. I mean, when you think about Al Qaeda, it sounds kind of Spanish almost, right? Al Qaeda. That's my sexy Latina face. They're gonna kick me out of this identity, I can tell. So anyway, that's pretty much all that was on the news in the United States for about 10 years. And I was growing up in that time. I didn't hear about anything else really. There was like a European money crisis of some sort. There was disasters in other parts of the world. There was disasters in the United States. I didn't hear about Hurricane Katrina until Kanye West talked about it. American teenagers are just awful. They're just awful. But anyway, the news has changed up, luckily. The news has changed up, and now I'm hearing about other things. So my life is pretty good on that front. Something interesting that happened recently in the news was, I'm going to say this very scientifically, so I'm sorry if you don't understand what I'm talking about. But there was a comet flying through space, and human beings took a thing and they put it on that comet somehow. And this is a really big deal. It's all over the news. We're conquering comets now. We got the moon, got Mars. Now we got comets. Anyway, something surprising that came out during that news cycle had to do with an Australian scientist who was interviewed. I like how this is what people know about more than the actual astronomy of it. But an Australian scientist was interviewed wearing a really interesting shirt, a button-up Hawaiian-style shirt, with like a really loud pattern. That pattern was pinup girls. Was a lot of pretty girls with the boobies and all. I don't know why I pointed down here. There's other things here, but yeah. Apparently there was a big uproar that was extremely inappropriate. It was demeaning to women, that sort of thing. And I gotta say, I follow plenty of feminist news sources in my life, and there were a lot more people complaining about feminists complaining than there were feminists complaining about that incident. And you wanna know why? I know why. It's because us feminists know exactly how it feels to be really awkward with fashion. I was really stoked when I found these pants because they're skinny cargo pants. Do you have any idea how hard that is to find?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. I'm never letting go of cargo pants. It's always going to be my favorite. Anyway, I think back to all the choices of fashion I've made as a feminist, and one of my favorite might be my high school viola recital. I wore a beautiful floor-length concert dress, sleeveless, black, gorgeous, with combat boots and full armpit hair. Like, just picture what it looks like to be playing viola. Like, that's a terrible viola playing position. Never do that. Oh, man. And so then, furthermore, I tried a little bit to think about, I guess, reversing the roles in that t-shirt gate situation. Hashtag t-shirt gate. That's actually what it was. And I was like, okay, well, let's reverse the roles a bit. Let's figure out if this really is like a gender rights issue, I guess. Let's think about a scientific field dominated by women. Oh wait, there aren't any. Okay, that's fine. Let's think about another field dominated by women. Secretaries. That's a good one. Secretaries are mostly women. That's cool. I picture a really high-level secretary at some big multinational company showing up with like a Hawaiian shirt buttoned up, covered in like Chippendale strippers, with like little bow ties and little dongs everywhere. I love it. I love it. And she'd probably be fired. That's all there is to add. It wouldn't be a big uproar or anything like that. I don't care though. I'd buy that shirt. If you guys see that shirt, buy it. I'll wear it to the next comedy night. That's my plan. Anyway, one last thing I want to talk about. Another thing I saw in the news recently. This is a much smaller thing. This was on my Facebook news feed a lot for like a day. I have a lot of friends who are new parents, and they were posting this thing that happened about strollers. Strollers you push babies in. There was a huge recall. It's funny how many words there are for strollers. I've learned while talking to people about this, but anyway. Anyway, there's a huge recall. There's a huge recall of strollers all around the world. Hundreds of thousands of them aren't good anymore, and the reason is because there's a locking mechanism in them that was cutting off babies' fingers. Full-on chopping off. It happened to 11 babies, apparently. I was like, wow, how did you not recall them after like the first 6? Or so, like, where is the line with that? Anyway, I'm a millennial. I was raised with and by the internet. So, let's just say my mindset is, I saw Sailor Moon hentai before I turned 7 years old. If you don't know what that is, good for you. But I've seen a lot of literal shit on the internet, and not just 2 girls, 1 cup. That is the Britney Spears shit on the internet. I'm telling you, here's a list of things you can Google. Here's Tough Girl and Goatee are your basics. There's the BME Pain Olympics, Girls in Sandbox, Mr. Hands. That's just a brief list.
Peanut butter girl.
We all got some. Everyone, that's your conversation starter for the night. Pick someone up using that. So my gut reaction to this stroller incident, seeing that show up on my Facebook feed, was to do a Google image search on baby stroller finger severed. And you know, the only things that came up really were just like pictures from mommy blogs. There were pictures of these strollers that had like an arrow pointing to the locking mechanism that was apparently the issue. There wasn't a single like Vine video of a new father